Papa Squat, coming at ya. Hey everybody, it is Monday. I had the day off, but not for really a good reason. I'm old now, so not only do they ask me when I go to the doctor if I have had a recent fall, but I also needed to have my first colonoscopy. Hooray! So yeah, last night I got to drink a bunch of medicine. It's actually not that bad. It just doesn't taste good. And sit on the toilet all night. And yeah, that's basically what I did. But everything's fine. I'm back now. Man, I was knocked out. Those are some knockout drugs that they give you. Whew. But I had a little nap, and now I'm here. So we're going to listen to a song today by FREEEZ. 3E's. I wanted to do this because it's a band that includes a guy named John Rocca, and we listened to a song by him last week, 2 weeks ago, I forget exactly when. But in reading his bio, which there is one on Wikipedia, it talked about him and his other things that he had done, including FREEEZ. I know, I'll stop saying that. But FREEEZ was an English band, or FREEEZ were an English electronic music group, initially known for as one of the UK's main jazz funk bands of the early 1980s. Okay, so this is old. I have not heard of these guys, and I think UK jazz funk sounds awesome. Initiated by John Rocca, FREEEZ consists of various musicians originally with Rocca and others, such as Andy Stennett on keyboards, Peter Maas on bass guitar, and Paul Morgan or Everton McCalla. McCalla? Probably McCalla. Everton, that's a neat name, on drums. They had an international hit with I.O.U, which is the song we're going to listen to, and a UK top 10 with Southern FREEEZ. They were active from 78 to 85. They have actually a pretty good-sized Wikipedia entry here for a 30, 40-year-old band. And I'm interested to hear this out because I think Mr. Rocca has gone on to quite a bit more production and creation of music, and let's see what this is like. So this is a long one, 8 minutes 40 seconds, again early 80s, and in fact 1983 as it says right here. This is the original extended Megamix, so that's why it's long. My guess is, just from the imagery here, this is going to be a very dancey, little electronic-y jazz sort of thing that we're going to hear, but let's see how we like it. Alright, I'm turning up my sound a little bit. FREEEZ, I.O.U, original extended Megamix from 1983, 8 minutes, 41 seconds, let's go! Ooh, 80s. So, if you think it's funny that so much 80s music sounds like this, all music does that, because a new technology or a new sound or a new instrument comes out, or a new innovation in the way music is made, and everybody thinks it's awesome and they use it a lot. And you can see this, I'll just pick some examples: dubstep, auto-tune, electronic music, right? Digital production. Everybody starts using it, and the people who use it in really neat, cool ways generally get to be pretty well known, or at least they're well known and respected within the industry, and it influences everything else, and eventually it just becomes another tool in the shed, or in your toolbox. And what you're hearing here in the 80s is the influence, obviously, of things like blues and jazz and funk and disco. Now, more and more electronic influence and more experimental sort of music coming out. And certainly there was a lot of experimentation in the 70s. But I mean, even at this point in the 80s, rock and roll was pretty new, and to now have this electronic music come out, which then eventually sort of parts of it started becoming part of hip hop is also super interesting, right? Like the Beatles and the Stones, their heyday was only 20-ish years before this, like not that long. That's like from now to 2000. And that's not that long of a period of time when you're talking about all of history and all of music history. So this is not surprising to hear this sort of sound and why a sound from a certain time period is so distinctive. And it's because there's innovations and changes and new influences, and that's why we hear so much electronic music in the 1980s. Love it. Another thing I want to point out, and I'm almost certain this is going to be true, I would have probably started lyrics about 5 or 6 seconds ago, if I was a music maker. But, like I said, this is at a time when this sort of instrument and these sounds were new, and people just wanted to play with them. And they were like, wow, this is really cool. Let's just let it run, and let it run, and let it run. And it was because it was new and different, and they just loved the sound of it. And it doesn't necessarily make for the greatest short song, but it did allow them this space to kind of experiment and get things out of their system and figure out what they do really like. And I think that's why we've seen songs shorten from this time period of whatever 8 to 10 minutes long being really pretty common to almost all songs, unless they are really experimental and weird, being short, being 2, 3, 4 minutes. And if it's outside of that, there's not a lot of songs that are outside 2, 3, 4 minutes, like that get played on a radio or even that really get recorded these days. Like I said, unless somebody's really experimenting. So I'm expecting a lot of time to be filled by this. Anytime here, lyrics could come in and it would feel perfectly natural. So I am curious. I hear the bell there, ding, ding, ding. And I'm curious if that's a real instrument or if that's a button. It kind of sounds like a real instrument because it sounds inconsistent. It sounds live. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't sound perfect, and it's interesting. So this song is interesting because I know 100% because I strangely liked this song. There was another song in the 80s not called I.O.U, but it was actually called A-E-I-O-U and sometimes Y. At least I'm pretty sure that's true. Like that was the title. I don't think this is that song, and if it is, I freaking love it because I love that song. It was so weird and odd, but it was more of a spoken word sort of thing, and maybe this will turn into that. I don't know. Let's see. If it is, I have heard the normal version of this song, and I'm totally on board with this. Yeah, this is not the song that I mentioned. Wow, what a great, clear, high voice. Really, really nice. In fact, I wish they had mixed it with his voice a little bit louder because I think I mean, it would really sound fantastic if he were just 10, 15% louder. It really would have been great. You treat me bad, I feel like taking back. I want you love, I want you love, that's how I feel. I want it to be real. I want you love, I want you love, I need your touch, and I owe you so much. So again, the thing I think about is where do you listen to this song? And this is absolutely a dance club song. It could have been skating rink song. It could, like, this is a party song. This is just a fun time. The lyrics, I'm guessing, aren't going to mean nothing. They're not going to be meaning anything important. It's just a good song. It's got a good beat. It's got a hook. That apparently turned out to be a pretty good hook because it was a hit. And yeah, this is just it's a dance song, and that's also why it's long. Those lyrics are so hard. Good. So I said good there because that was a perfect transition point. That was exactly where you wanted something to come in because it hadn't come sooner, and it could have. And that was exactly where I was like, this needs to change. Really nice change, too. Ah, such a voice. So I was just thinking, it would be so cool, and I haven't looked, but it would be so cool to have somebody sample this track, some portion of it, right? Maybe the A.E.I.O.U, maybe it's the danciness, and actually use that in a new song and see what they could do with it. And again, that is one of the fantastically amazing things about hip-hop, is that's at the core of what the music is, and it's so interesting to be able to use music as an instrument as opposed to use an instrument to make music. It's one of the things that I think is so incredible about hip hop, and it's why I listen to it. And it's not the only thing I listen to. I listen to a ton of different music. It's just the thing that I really appreciate the most about the music of hip hop is that it breaks down any sort of taboo around what can be used as sound, as entertainment, as music, and it's fantastic. Nope, see, they could have come in there. Nice. So that sort of drum sound effect, also very new, very much something people wanted to experiment with and use because it was unlike anything else that had ever existed, and so you hear it a lot in this sort of music, and it's fun. Yeah, yeah. Love that sort of thing where they just do the full stop and pull everything out and then start introducing stuff back in. Absolutely love it. I know I've talked about it before. It's so good because it just makes you quite literally stop and go, "What was that?" And absolutely, like on a dance floor, if this were to happen, everybody'd be moving along. Like, it's hilarious to think about, and it's just such a cool effect in any song. Right on cue. Now build everything back up again. Ooh. Definitely not a real instrument. Oh. Nice. That was cool. So again, like as you're listening to that whole section where they're doing the and all sorts of weird, they're just playing. I mean, it's obvious to me, even if it's not true. It just the music is telling me they were having a good time making this, and they wanted to hear that song or that sound for more of the time in the song, and I absolutely can understand it because they never have been able to do this sort of thing before, and all of a sudden they have the ability to, and damn it if they're not going to do it. So that's sort of an interesting way to say I want to have sex with you is I owe you so much, a single touch won't do. That's not exactly what they were saying, but that's kind of what they were saying. Like, I owe you so much. It's fun. He's also just a great voice, again. David S. Pumpkins. just playing. So that's also really interesting, is they're playing with the vowel sounds, right? A, I-O, and it's kind of neat that they took a section of the song to sort of dedicate to that. It's completely unnecessary. It makes for a good dance song because, again, it's long, but they're just playing. This is just them playing with the sounds that they made, and they thought it would be fun. Uh-oh, I better stop before the ads come. Morbius. There's a character I never thought would be in his own movie. So, that was fun. I'm going to restart it here. It'll probably go to an ad right away. It does. Let me make that quiet. We don't care about this new service. Oh my god. What in the world? Anyway, when this all ends, we'll go back to something that makes sense. There we go. So this was fun. I mean, it's absolutely 100% an artifact of its time. And, however, that doesn't mean there's not actually some good stuff in here, because I think it's a really fun song. It certainly did not seem like it was 9 minutes long, and it was. And it's good for what it is. Dance song. Going out to the club, you don't want a short little song. You want to go out and dance for a bit. And I can see why this would be a hit, because, again, at the time, this was new, it was experimental. I know there is a shorter version of this song that was probably the non-club hit. And, man, it's fun. And I could see how this guy went on to do more stuff, because he was able to take all of these different new sorts of sounds and musics and instruments and combine them in a way that kind of ended up with a really fun, catchy little song. There you go. That's it for today. I actually didn't realize this song was from 1983 when I first looked at it. Learned it quickly. And I would listen to more by these guys. And now I want to go back and find that other I.O.U song that I don't remember who wrote it, but I will, and the name is somewhere in my head. Also, man, that voice, just fantastic, especially when he's belting out those really high songs at the end there. Reminds me of so many artists from the UK who have that voice for some reason. Like I said, there's the guy from Aztec Camera whose name I can't remember, and there's another guy, Small Town Boy, Small Town Boy from a Small Town, something like that. But he had just a fantastic song. Small Town Boy? No, that's not it. Anyway, I will attempt to find that, and that's it for me, Papa Squat. Check it out. Bronski Beat. There it is. Small Town Boy. Bronski Beat. I'm going to play a couple of seconds of this so you can hear his absolutely amazing voice. Very 80s. Kind of sounds a little similar to that last one. Oh, that voice. Incredible voice. Anyway, if you are interested in checking out Bronski Beat, recommended, especially Small Town Boy. And it's also still frighteningly timely because it's about a gay guy going to the big city from a small town. And who knew there were gay people around at the time? Awesome stuff. Really like that old song. Now I have to go listen to Bronski Beat. Have a good night. Pop Squat. Checking out for a second time. Please like, subscribe, and share. I appreciate it very much. Have yourself a good rest of the week.